I did get my 1961 Benz started. It's a little history on it. I did purchase the thing from a junkyard some 25 years ago, 26 years ago, back in the 90s. It's kind of a rare model. It's if you're familiar with the Benz models, it's W111, and it's a mix of W112. It has, the rear is a tail fin, and the front has the stacked headlights from a W112 body. And it was kind of a rare time that they did it. It transitions only a few months back in 61. Once they went on to the stacked headlights, or the vertical big bubble European headlights, they got rid of the tail fins. So it kind of took away that look that I was after. And anyway, it came from the junkyard. It was missing the radiator, generator, the gas tank, and they sold the brake drums. When I got the car home back in the 90s, I fired it up, put some fuel to it, without a radiator, obviously. I ran it, got it to RPM, and it was good. Since then, I've been starting it. It's had a bad fuel pump, so the fuel pump that's on it was squirting fuel all over the place. I didn't want to run it, especially, with not having a radiator either. I would just fire it up, pour some gas down the carburetor, and get it up to RPM enough to where I'd slosh some oil around. So I did that every 5 years. Now I'm to the point where I'm starting to kind of put some spotlight on it. I do want to move it. I'm not ready to tackle the full-on restoration project. I just don't have the funds right now. A lot of other stuff going on, and inflation is the main thing. Everything, it just sucks. I just ain't got the cash to put into that car. But what I am doing is I want to make it drivable around the yard. So I'm going to put a radiator in it. I got a one-wire alternator I'm going to make a bracket for and adapt it. I don't want to go back to the original generator. I don't even have the original generator. Not going to look for it. I once bought a 60 amp one-wire alternator for a project that I never used. It's just sitting there. Single belt pulley. It's going to work perfect for this project. Also need to get a gas tank on it. There is a gas tank in the trunk, but up to this point I have yet to actually analyze it, see if it is the tank out of that car, which I don't think it is. I have a feeling it's not that tank. That's why I never really analyzed it closely. And I did purchase recently 2 brake drums off of eBay. Actually made a good contact on eBay. I talked to the dude on the phone. He's up in Oregon, and he's salvaged a bunch of these bodies. So I ended up getting 2 brake drums from him. The theory is kind of like, okay, I'm going to put at least the rear brake drum so I can operate the parking brake to move it around. But the parking brake cables are seized because it was up in my desert house for a long time. So I got to pull those cables out and unseize them, It's not rusted. The car has no rust for the most part. And anyway, so I want to get it drivable around the thing. So initially I got it started. I had a stuck float, a needle valve that wasn't shutting. So one of the secondary barrels on the rear carburetor was filling up, so I couldn't run it too long. I'm gonna pop the top off that carburetor, loosen up that float, and the goal is to get some round tires that hold air and put it in gear, start it in gear, and limp it around the yard to get it over inside my shop and on the lift so I can start working on it. So that'll be the next one, is getting that carburetor fixed and I need 2 14-inch tires. I don't want to invest in 4 new tires, and finding 2 14-inch used tires has not been easy. I might make a junkyard run later this weekend or something, or next week. We'll see. But that's where it's at. So you can kind of stay tuned to that if you're interested. I want to post a bunch of little episodes on it, but like I said, I'm not starting the full-on restoration project. I just want to be able to move it around the yard, which I think is low-hanging fruit, to get it to do that, especially after it fired up. So the clutch doesn't work. It does have a hydraulic clutch. It used to work, but because I never used it, the fluid leaked out. The cylinders need work. The brakes, obviously, they did work, just didn't have brake drums. But everything worked when I got it, 20-something years ago, 27 years ago. It's all now dry, and it's got to be taken apart. So, we'll see. But that's it. But that's about one thing I've been sort of pushing up into the spotlight